Well, Coach, what's it like to be practicing on this week? You've done it before.
Well, yeah, the kids know I love practice, but this is definitely the best week of the year to be practicing and getting ready to, take our show on the road.
After 3 trips there, Dan, what's different for you? Anything?
You just hope that the experience, prepares you to lead these kids up. A lot of distractions, good and bad, and it's a lot of fun. So that balance of celebration, let these kids enjoy this. They've earned it. But at the end of the day, you're going there because you played good baseball and you're wanting to play good baseball. So that's always got to be at the top of the food chain.
Have you changed your approach any over the years? As I said, this should be your 4th time. So.
Yeah, not too much. But you just tweak a couple things, and lots of times you just got to go with the pulse of your team. If they're a loose group, then keep them loose. If they're a serious group, then keep them serious on track. And this group's pretty loose. Now this is a funny group, and they got a lot of personality. But when it comes time to take care of business, they lock in and take care of business. So we just want to keep to that routine, and we keep saying stick to the process. We just want to stick to the process this week.
How cool was last night for you in this program?
It was a lot of fun. It's this is ultimately what these kids want. At the top of their food chain is making it to the big leagues. And, man, this is a big step on the way. Helping them grow on and off the field, helping them get a degree, helping them mature physically and mentally, but really giving them the confidence that when they leave our program, they're ready to compete. It's a tough world. That pro baseball world is a tough world. It's a grind. And, it's a good feeling for our coaches because we know we've prepared these kids, and it's a credit to them because they've worked really hard, and their confidence is at an all-time high, and they'll be ready to cross that line as soon as the season ends.
Have you heard anything from Joe Dell regarding if he's definitely going to the Angels? Or
No. And I got a great relationship with Jordan and his family, and we text back and forth last night, and I congratulated him. It's ultimately he's going to do what he and his family think are best for him. He knows we love him. We'd love to have him here. He knows he would love being here. That's the tough part, is he would love this experience. He wants to be here. His family wants him to be here. But, I guess at this time you can't do both. You got to pick one or the other, and so it puts him in a tough situation. It's a neat situation, but it is tough.
Is that I don't know, because that's possible, and you hope that you get guys drafted, even the recruits. But is that like a sense of satisfaction for the staff as when you recruit a guy that gets taken in the top 10? Or
I don't, it's going to happen, from time to time. You see mid-majors who have a kid that, a guy's drafted in the top 10, so I don't, that's not our goal. But again, we can't control how much these kids develop. You got to give Jordan a lot of credit. He committed to us as a 9th grader. He got better. He worked his tail off. That guy committed to being as good a baseball player as he can be, and for that I'm really proud of him, for that. But that was his doing.
Do you expect Ellis to go? He's 44th, I guess.
Yeah, most of our juniors are going to sign. Now, if something falls through and it happens in this draft, then we'll talk about that. But if we feel they're physically and mentally ready to go, and they feel good about it, and we've got a plan, academically for them to finish their degree, then most signs point to them going.
When you came here, 11.
Classic Brendan when he got drafted. What about his demeanor makes him such a good baseball player?
I think it's good for the game. It's a long game. It's a slow game. 162 games. Our season feels long, and they're going to play 3 times as many as we played this year. So, yeah, he definitely's got the perfect demeanor to play big league baseball and hopefully play it for a long time.
What do you know about Texas A&M?
Similar to us, and they lost the last 2 super regionals, to TCU, and the heartbreak, and a lot of players they lost to the draft. They're probably a little younger than us, but they still got older, talented kids. They've got some superstar young kids. So it's a baseball-rich program, and it's like I always say, when kids go to schools like that, they go there with the expectations of going to Omaha. So that's why they go there. So it's not going to be a surprise to them, and they're like us, and I guess all the schools that are going there. You're expected to have a chance to go to Omaha when you pick a school like Louisville or Texas A&M. So but I know they're well coached, and it'll be fun competing against them.
When you came here, it was your first job, I'm sure in your own mind you had some kind of plan or ideas, but did you generally foresee this kind of success here?
Well, I always say, God's dreams for us are bigger than our own dreams for ourselves. And as I look at my life, it's been that case. And I think I dream big, so I'm very competitive, very confident. And, I went to a mid-major school and I played in the College World Series. When I went into coaching, I felt like I was going to coach in the College World Series. But when you look at the big picture, again, you just, if you've got faith, you realize, man, his plans are always bigger than mine, and that's pretty neat.
What do you like about this team? I know you've talked about that all year, but just now going into the World Series, your ball club, what do you?
Well, the last few weeks, I've really been impressed by their focus, impressed by their toughness. I saw that peace throughout the program the last few weeks. It's very businesslike, and the balance in baseball where it's a game. It's got to keep it simple. You got to have fun, but you're also competing, and one team's going to win, one team's going to lose. So it's a unique balance to have, and this group has it.
Looking back at 2007, when it's your first year going to Omaha, as your first year coaching, what were your first impressions when you got there, and has some of that awe kind of rubbed off over the years?
Well, again, I played in Omaha, so I knew what it was like as a player. It was the first experience as a coach, and it gives you a different perspective, and you realize it's much bigger than the players. Right now, the players are living in their bubble, in their world, and I get that. I was there. When you go as a coach and you kind of step back, you see the big picture, man. It's way bigger than them. This is about their families. This is about their friends. This is about this community. The people who are going to drop everything to make a trip to go to the College World Series, and this will be about the 07 team. This will be about the 13 and 14 teams. When this program goes to Omaha, it's a celebration, and all those guys from those teams should be going out there, and they should be celebrating. It should be like a reunion if you were on one of those teams, to go out there and tailgate and set up shop and remind everybody, hey, I'm part of this unique fraternity. There's about 200 and something kids every year that get to be a part of a small fraternity of 10,000 Division I baseball players. So I hope every time we go that it's taken as a reunion for all the teams before them that went, and hoping that this team does something even bigger.
And you've had so much success and so many accolades and different things. How much of the recruiting success is attributed to the times you've gone to Omaha? When you get there, does that help in recruiting?
It definitely doesn't. It doesn't hurt. We got to be clear with our vision, and this is something that we've been saying since day one. What we're trying to do to help these kids on a lot of fronts, and I always say we're not for everybody. But for those kids who want what we offer and what we think they can accomplish while they're here, this is a really neat place. So it's fun when kids choose this place for the right reasons.
Have you heard from guys from those former World Series teams?
Oh yeah, I read them to the kids. I get more text messages from those teams, especially the 07 team. I get more text messages from the Chris Cates, the Logan Johnsons, the Dan Burtons, the Boomer Whitings. I mean, those guys, and they're so proud, and they're getting a little older and they're a little wiser, and I know that feeling as an older alumni when your university does some neat things. So I can feel how proud they are, and I'll read them. I'll read them to our players, what it means to the former players.
What
Having
is
been there
A&M?
as a player and a coach, how do you express to the players what expectations they might face, and how do you try to minimize the distractions?
We talked about Sunday. We met before we went to work out and lift, and I just kind of challenged them on the obvious distractions, the people pulling and tugging at them, the natural feel they have as good kids. They want to help their families and friends and all that, and I kind of tease them, like Colin Lyman, you think your family needs help going out there? I mean, they know how to tailgate. They know how to set up shop and enjoy this. Like, don't worry about them. They'll be fine. I mean, they do this for a living. Like, I try to remind these kids, they're 20 years old or so. Their parents have been doing this for 10 plus years. They've been traveling, going to hotels, getting on flights, finding a place to stay, eat, all that. So try not to get stressed out about pleasing everybody and having to entertain everybody. There's plenty to do out there, and I want them to enjoy their family and friends being there, but they understand it's what we say in the first trip of the year. It's a business trip.
What about A&M style, their strengths, Dan? Have you been able to?
Yeah, they're like a lot of teams in the postseason. They could do a little bit of everything. They hit some home runs, they steal some bases, they sacrifice. They feel like they're going to pitch good enough and play good enough defense that, it's a simple formula to win in the postseason in advance. It's not easy to do, but it's a simple formula, and they do it well. I mean, that program, like us, they've won a lot of games with that coaching staff and that program and what's been going on for the past 6, 7, 8 years there. So a lot of similarities.
You guys have been so close in all of your previous trips there. What do you think are the small difference makers between staying there a few days and dropping out early?
Pitching
if you haven't pinpointed at this point.
Pitching and defense. That's it. Just throw the ball in the zone, make all the plays you can make. When I think back of some of the losses, other teams played better than us. They pitched better than us. They made some phenomenal plays against us. I can remember getting robbed of a home run against Vanderbilt. I can remember getting robbed of a ball in the gap against Oregon State. You go back. The Rice game, we could have won that game, and we just didn't play as clean on defense as we should have. We scored plenty of runs. So it's the same three factors: pitch, play defense, and try to get some timely hits. But I think I broke down the last 4 years, 60+ games. 38 of them have been won by 1 or 2 runs. So 62% or so of the games the last 4 years in Omaha are won by a run or 2. So what that means is when you get a chance to score a run, score a run. When you have to cut a team off from scoring a run, bring the infield up or make it turn a double play or do whatever, then try to do your best to do that because, it's a big park and, the home runs have been a few more the last few years as the ball changed, but it's different than a lot of college baseball games throughout the year. I mean, it's just a lot of lower scoring games.
How nice is it to have some senior leadership that's actually experienced in Omaha?
That's great. I'm sure the players are going to lean on those guys for having been there: Sparger, Summers, Taylor, and Lyman. But you also need the joy and excitement of the new guys. I think that's a nice balance to have a mix of returners and a mix of 3 classes of guys. That's why they came here, and so I'm really happy for them.
10 years on since your first trip there, what would 2017 Dan McDonnell say to 2007 Dan McDonnell right now?
Hopefully I'm a better coach today than I was 10 years ago. I mean, I wish I had more to give that group. And a lot of people said I took that team to Omaha. Man, that team took me to Omaha. So I learned a lot from those 9 seniors. I mean, that was a special group. And not only did I have the 9 seniors, but I had the Justin Marks and the Chris Dominguez's and the superstar freshmen that I learned a lot from coaching those guys.
How much do you think, you kind of sensed it this past weekend that they really wanted to avoid the pain that they suffered the past 2 years. Do you think there's that sense with going to Omaha with these guys that they'd like to kind of turn back some of the recent performances and get better?
Yeah, maybe the struggles the past couple years have helped them, have toughened them up, have prepared their mindset. We talk a lot about visualization, and I just think back to Lincoln Hensman after we won that regional, and he was adamant, we're not losing 3 in a row, and that was a bold statement, but he believes that. And our players believe that. And so I'm sure the mindset's going to be, we're not just going there, to show off our red and black, man. We want to play good baseball. So, I'm confident that these kids are mentally and physically prepared. And, right now we're in the middle of the draft and we're celebrating our guys. 2 guys got drafted last night, McKay and Ellis. And we feel like Hensman, McClure, Fitch, Hairston, maybe Taylor, Lyman, Sparger, and all those guys are going to get drafted today or tomorrow. So this is a fun week, and we're going to celebrate that, but continue to turn our attention to preparing to play good baseball.
Thoughts on the starting rotation out there yet? Or?
No, it's there's no secrets who we'll probably turn to, but it's not worth jumping the gun. Let's get through the week of practice, see how everybody performs, see how they feel, make sure we get enough scouting reports on the 3 teams in our bracket that we feel like the matchups similar to a regional. You're playing two of those other 3 teams in your bracket, so you kind of want to have a game plan, and you have the unusual day off in between. Win or lose, you have a day off. So in 3 days you play 2 games. So that adds some dynamic to it, but I'm sure if you were a betting man, you could probably bet on who we're going to pitch out there.
How about one more question? guys are one of the few sports that have your draft amidst the postseason. Do you think that takes some pressure off those guys going to Omaha, knowing that they've been drafted, they have a team now?
And it could. You know, some of the distractions are getting drafted while you're playing. That's happened to us right before we're playing. That added a wrinkle last year when the draft was before the supers. But you know, I always say there's some players who played really well in that supers too. You know, I think the Will Smiths and the Berries and guys, you know, their self-esteem was really high. So it could go both ways, and it's our job as coaches to help them, and hopefully their job as players and about to be real professionals, they got to be able to handle this. They got to be able to handle some of the distractions and the curveballs. We say it all the time, you know, the curveballs of life. We eat obstacles for breakfast. So if you want to look at this as an obstacle, then it is what it is, and hopefully they have the right mindset to attack it.
Thanks, Dan.
Thanks everybody.
Thanks, Dan.